This is All India Radio. In the program Spotlight, now we bring you a discussion on Karnataka Assembly Elections 2023. The participants are K.S. Sachidananda Murthy and K.V. Prasad, journalists.
The Election Commission today announced for the 224 Karnataka Assembly. People of Karnataka will have an opportunity to elect the new government on 10th of May. And 3 days later, they'll get to know which party or combination of parties or whoever they voted for will form the government in the state. It's a very interesting election, one because in the southern part of India, where the voting trends and voting patterns have been always watched closely, the total population of voters would be something in the range of 5.23 lakhs. And that's a number has increased. And one of the heartening signs, what we're told by the Election Commission, is adding of almost 10 lakh of new voters. To be precise, on 9.58 lakh of young voters have joined. So this is a huge jump considering the fact that Election Commission has throughout been working to get more people to come out and vote. Mr. Murthy, you're a close watcher of Indian elections and more so in Karnataka. I'll look at it in two aspects. One, the elections and the election management of it, and the larger political dimension. So if I were to begin elections and the management of it, your impressions, please.
Prasad, Karnataka elections have always been a sort of running contrary to the concept of a double-engine government. Karnataka, it used to be said earlier that votes at the local level for the party which is not in power at the center. So this used to happen a number of times, and this time the election is centered around that also. But in terms of the management of the election, Karnataka, apart from, as you know, there's an addition of 1 million voters, plus there's a vigorous campaign by the Election Commission and the state government on making the voters aware of their rights, telling them not to fall for any blandishments or anything, and come and vote fearlessly in the elections. So the voter education in Karnataka has been very intense this time. And also this time the entire state, normally polling will be in two phases, but this time it will be a single phase election. So which means in terms of both election booth management and law and order, the Election Commission is very confident that it can do it in one phase. And since it is a standalone election, movement of central troops availability will be better.
Mr. Murthy, what you said is very right, and we have always heard Karnataka has had one of the peaceful polling throughout. And of course, we'll come to the political aspect of it, which you made in a very interesting observation in the beginning. But very quickly today, the Election Commission, during its presentation and also a part of the tweets it put out, had expressed concern over the lower percentage of votes, especially coming in the urban section and probably the metropolis in which you live. So that is something which the Election Commission flagged. So how would you look at that?
Yes, it's a matter of serious concern because one of the important things about urban India and especially Bangalore is that bulk of the Bangalore population is migrant population. And majority of them come from places which are, say, 100 to 500 kilometers from Bangalore. And since election day is a holiday, and normally it comes close to weekend or another holiday, people tend to take off. That is one. Second is, in terms of the timing of the election, it's in May, the hottest period in Karnataka. So the elections, when they're held in the hot period, there's a certain reluctance among voters, especially the youth and the women folk, from standing in long queues to exercise their franchise. So the Election Commission has been taking steps, moving the polling station more closer to the president and reducing the number of voters per polling station. And that's why this time they have already started a major campaign to tell voters that they must exercise their franchise.
Yeah, I think one of the reasons what you highlighted is the weather conditions, and probably keeping that in mind, the Commission has increased the polling stations. I think it goes up by 274, so almost 58,282 polling stations will be there in the state of Karnataka. And also they have put accent on increased facilities for voters, some of the basics like water, easy ramps and so on and so forth. But one highlight which is there, and probably it's a new phenomenon that is coming to Indian politics and Indian voters, is the senior citizens above 80 years and now in particular who have opted can now choose to vote from the comforts of the home. So I think this is an innovation that post-COVID that's coming into play. Is that correct assessment?
That's right. More facilities provided to people. Of course, we are also in the transition stage. They already talk about online voting. So Election Commission is conducting its own experiments on how to make it possible to have online voting where all the safety and fairness features are protected, because the commission is mandated to conduct free and fair elections with maximum participation. So that way, now that the connectivity and other issues are also being studied by the Election Commission, because not a single voter should not miss the opportunity to vote, even if online voting is introduced. So there are a lot of discussions and experiments going on. But yes, more facilities for voters, like allowing the elderly to vote from home, comfort of their homes, is a very good innovation by the Election Commission.
So before I move to the political management, political aspects of the elections, one last issue which I always think, and Karnataka, like many states in the south in particular, whether it is Andhra or other, is known for high profile, high spending campaigning. And also we see the Election Commission cracks down on to curb the use of money power and also other inducements which you mentioned. So is that a phenomenon which is very peculiar to that part of the country, or is something which is common elsewhere too?
Yeah, I think by tomorrow morning, we'll have enough news of how much of consignments of cash, liquor, free gifts are seized in different parts of Karnataka. Already yesterday there was news that a car was involved in an accident and they recovered free gifts from that car in Karnataka. So this is a major problem in Karnataka, like in, as you said, about other southern states, distribution of free gifts and cash. So the commission itself has enhanced its, teams of surveillance teams and various patrol teams and all that to, as much as possible, curb the distribution of gifts and cash. But the problem still remains that even if 100 vehicles are caught, 100 people are booked, another 1,000, 10,000 may escape. And there is no effective prosecution once the elections are over. I mean, we hear that hundreds of cases filed during elections are not taken up by the police or not taken up by income tax department. So this is an area which the Election Commission, with its limited powers after the elections are over, has to convince the police, the state and central governments to help nab those who indulge in electoral malpractices so that this practice is discouraged.
Yeah, Mr. Murthy, I think the fact is you have also experienced over the years, we've seen the diminished role of muscle power, which was more relevant in some parts of the country. And thanks to the strict vigil and other things put in by the Election Commission, I'm sure over the years some more measures will deter this kind of campaigning. But moving on to the political aspect of it, as you said, a very interesting observation that people of Karnataka think differently. So this is one thing we always look at as political observers for national politics. Is it a bellwether state? Will it indicate something, since it will be just a year before the national election?
Normally in the last 2-3 election seasons, the Karnataka election comes a year ahead of the Lok Sabha election. So this has been the pattern. And also this is a year where two major national parties, the BJP and the Congress, come to face to face in a number of states, starting with Karnataka, then there's Rajasthan, Chhattisgarh, Madhya Pradesh, where they are the two main forces. Though in Karnataka there is a regional party. So this is really a bellwether election that way for both the national party as well as the regional party. But regional party is more limited in its ambitions. But for BJP and the Congress, Karnataka is a laboratory where they can refine, depending on the results, their strategy for the next Lok Sabha election. So that is a very important state.
Mr. Murthy, the fact, of course, is Karnataka has been a bastion, if one were to say so, for the BJP in the southern part of India. And that is one position. Of course, it has not had a majority of its own. But that has not deterred the party to eventually come to, govern the state in various spells. And now we have an interesting phase. The kind of landscape has changed. And you talked about the presence of a very strong regional party and the combination. We are also hearing a lot of political activity, both in terms of policies which could determine or which could influence the way people think and vote.
See, if you look at the BJP, they emerged as the single largest party in the last 3-4 elections. Both the times they enjoyed the chief ministership. That happened because earlier the Congress and the JDS had ganged up to form the governments. Then when those governments fell for various reasons, including the recent Operation Lotus by BJP, where they got defections from Congress and JDS. So the BJP hasn't had a full, simple majority in the Karnataka Assembly. In 2008, it fell short by 6 seats. So that's why the BJP has strategized strongly that it has to not only win a simple majority, but a very good majority in Karnataka, so that the jinx is broken. And secondly, that would help the expansion of the BJP into the neighboring southern states, where, except in Telangana, it has been drawing a blank in the other states.
If you look at the larger picture, of course, you said the other national party, the Indian National Congress, which has already released its list. We hear the BJP would also follow suit very soon. The JDS has also announced its first list. So the stage is almost getting ready for launch of a major campaign. Not to say that the political parties have not launched the campaign informally, but now it will be full gear and full steam ahead.
Yes, actually, in the last 6 months, I've been seeing nothing but yatras, whether the BJP's Vijay Sankalpa Yatra or JDS's Pancharatna Yatra. Then the Congress had its big Bharat Jodo Yatra in Karnataka for a long number of days. There's already a lot of, and then in addition there are these road shows of the Prime Minister and Home Minister and other BJP leaders. Congress leaders have taken Padyatras, both the opposition leader Siddaramaiah and the PCC President Shivakumar. So there's been continuous political activity among the parties. Now we have to see how the candidates do their campaigning, because both the Congress and JDS have come out with their first list already. So BJP's first list is expected in a week's time. So I think now it shifts to the constituencies where the candidates and the leaders will be campaigning.
Mr. Murthy, before I wind up, one last issue is infighting is a common phenomena in all political parties. Would you characterize that as a factor that needs to be watched closely, irrespective of which political party is involved?
It is widely expected that with so many contenders, that there will be a lot of dissatisfaction on selection of candidates in all the 3 major parties in Karnataka. Already there are protests taking place. Every day there are reports coming from the districts. And also there is this huge debate in both BJP and the Congress about the original members and recent defectors. But then both the parties are saying that they will be giving tickets to defectors based on merit and winnability. So there's going to be a lot of internal dissension. And JDS is also saying that it will wait till the last minute for some key leaders who are denied tickets by the other parties to come over to its side. So it's a very fluid state of movement for political personalities in Karnataka. So we can expect some turbulence, but then also how the larger message, larger personalities, how they try to sweep the elections with the issues and charisma, that has to be seen also. Because this is an election where the Prime Minister is campaigning vigorously. His brand Modi is there. And for BJP, Yediyurappa is no more in the mix for the first time. He's not contesting, but he's still their biggest local vote catcher. Then at the age of 90, former Prime Minister H.D. Deve Gowda has promised to tour the state. And similarly, Siddaramaiah, who has a good reputation of being a mass leader, he is going around the state. So I think we'll see big campaigns, but ultimately effort of the individual candidates also will be very important.
Like all elections anywhere in the country, I think people will watch very closely what's going to happen in Karnataka, because as you said correctly, and we expect it to be a bellwether state and kind of indicate which way the wind is blowing as you go elections. Thank you very much for being with us.
You were listening to a discussion on Karnataka Assembly Elections 2023. The participants were K.S. Sachidananda Murthy and K.V. Prasad, journalist. This program was produced and presented by the News Services Division of All India Radio. You can listen to it on a mobile app, News on AIR. This program is also available on our YouTube channel, News on AIR Official. You may share your feedback about this program through email at airnsdtalks@gmail.com or WhatsApp on 9289094044.